Greetings, Professor and fellow classmates. My name is HiSmith, and the name of my presentation is What's in Store for College and Beyond. And this presentation reflects my journey through the University of Louisville and my transition beyond college as I prepare for the next stage of life and for my career. Next slide. All right, in this slide, I'll proceed with a little bit of a reflection and continue in my introduction. Again, my name is HiSmith. I am a senior level college student at the University of Louisville. My degree program is Organizational Leadership and Learning, and I chose the project management track. Now, I began my college education journey back in 2001, so it's been about 24 years. My degree that I hope to attain here at the University of Louisville is my second degree. My first was actually a bachelor's degree in ministry, so it was attained through by a non-regionally accredited institution. Therefore, obtaining work in in a sense, in the church world, I would say, was more so what that degree was for. As spirituality is my number one strength based upon my character assessment. That is what I leaned into. I'm very purpose driven, and at the time I had started my first year of college and I had paused after that first year because, quite frankly, I did not know my purpose. I did not even really quite fully know my identity. And so it was very difficult for me to navigate and be successful in some of the classes where I felt like I had needed to be successful. So, after spending some time working through those inner issues, I began going to school, I'd say just a couple years before COVID hit back in 2020. So I'd say 2017, 2018, around that time, I did complete my second and third years at Columbia College from a branch down in Orlando, Florida. It's not Columbia University, it's Columbia College. It is headquartered in it's headquartered in Columbia, Missouri, but it's not too far from St. Louis, Missouri. So my fourth year here, as I've been on this journey, was when I arrived in Louisville. And I've been in Louisville for, I say, going on 2.5 years now. And when I arrived to Louisville was particularly interesting because COVID was on the decline. Yet, as I was making my transition, I was in a horrible car accident where I was run over by a vehicle, and I was in a season of healing and recovery as I even had to relearn how to walk again. And so, probably on the onset of after a year or so in my healing phase, I ended up hearing about this program, this 1 year program for the organizational leadership program and or degree, and I knew that I was supposed to be there. I knew I was supposed to be there, and then when I heard that there was a project management track, it really spurred me on with an urgency. Why? Because I had been passionate about and had been trying to learn and tap into the project management certification since 2017. And through various reasons of just survival and school and work, I really did not have the focus, really could not put the my resources towards obtaining the tools that I would need to have been successful in passing the exam and obtaining my certification. So when I saw that this was a project management track, I knew it was a prayer answered. So my life is full of learning. I love learning. I'm sure I will be a lifetime learner. And so education is my passion. I am a first generation college student that will actually, Lord's willing, that I will actually complete my college bachelor's degree. And with that, I hope to fully step into the position of leading two nonprofits. One is HiSmith's Ministries. It is a 501c3 community development organization, and Pearls of Grace, which is a 501c4 civic and social awareness organization that is geared towards advocating for women and children, particularly in the areas of education. Next slide. When I began attending the University of Louisville, I had hoped for smooth progress, support, and opportunities to connect my learning to real world opportunities. And so what actually happened was a little bit more complex. And yes, I did have success. I was successful at integrating my coursework into building HiSmith's Ministries and Pearls of Grace. However, my biggest challenge, and it has been a financial strain. Balancing academics with a full-time job, that was an imbalance at one point, wherein as I was working full-time, my studies were secondary, and I was taking on more of a part-time role. It was really difficult to manage both, as I was teaching in middle school in one of the lower socioeconomic schools. So there were certain emotional challenges that I worked with in the day, but by the time I got home and got my life together to start homework, I was emotionally drained. So I pulled out of that imbalance and said, well, maybe if I focused on nonprofit work in the daytime, and then still continued on with my studies halfway, just part-time, I should be successful. Well, things begin to dry up on the nonprofit side. So it made me push harder to complete my degree, wherein as I switched the roles and began finishing my classes with a full-time academic load and a part-time workload, downgrading from my apartment, downgrading from my having an office, putting my things in storage, and truthfully having to come all the way back home and live with my father through this process until I finish. And so the gap between balancing academics, nonprofit world, and the hope and reality of what I was experiencing, it really came from underestimating how demanding it was and it is to not only manage both worlds at once, but I'm still in the building process. And so it's like flying an airplane. It's like building an airplane while it's flying, if that makes sense. Next slide. Okay, my first short-term goal is to finalize my degree and prepare to transition into full-time nonprofit leadership. So I still have approximately 5 classes to do After this term, I will have 3 classes, and that would lead me right to finishing around May of 2026. I need to complete my capstone assignments and projects, update my resume on LinkedIn, and begin networking within my community and also with members, fellow classmates. So that is my first short-term goal. And success would look like for me is having all of my graduation requirements completed and a clear professional portfolio by May of 2026. Next slide. My second short-term goal is to secure financial and organizational stability post-graduation. If I can do that before, that would be great as well. But my focus is on post-graduation. This will involve potentially applying for grants, identifying other funding sources, creative streams of income, i.e., dog sitting or conducting small events for the community that I'm in. And then even still drafting a sustainable budget for both nonprofits. So the work with incubators, community mentors, different alumni, it will greatly and vastly help me as I step foot in the community, and knowing that I've succeeded in secured my degree and now being credible within my peer environment. So I really look forward to also begin my public speaking career. With both organizations, I'll need to do some fundraising, so that also runs in the same pack. So all of this, my target date is summer of 2026. Okay, next slide. The next slide is all about challenges and strengths, and basically how those strengths offset the challenges. I anticipate including my financial transition through by restructuring my schedule without classes. This will give me the opportunity to fully commit and put all of my energy into these nonprofits and what it takes to run them successfully, scaling those organizations with sustainability, and using my strengths, my creativity, my spirituality, and my leadership skills, leaning on them as tools to help me leverage the gifts that I have and utilizing them within the community. I believe that if I'm able to do that and position myself well, then not only will I be successful, but those around me, including my peers in the community, will also be successful in life. And so the things that I have learned have carried me through challenges, financial transition, time management. All those things are very important, and they're actually skills that you can use on any level. And what we call those are transferable skills. So my strength of resilience, spirituality, creativity, all of my lived experiences, and balancing real life, academics, and nonprofit world, I believe I have a lot to offer those around me if they so choose to learn from them. Okay, the next slide are lessons learned and advice. I'd say overall it's been such a great experience. One of the lessons I've learned is how to integrate academic resources like the library databases, all of those into my real world projects. That information, it not only informed me, but I believe is going to set my nonprofit advocacy and planning and preparation and place us out in the community with a competitive edge. So my advice for adult students is this: use every resource. Connect your learning to your personal goals, and to remember that persistence is more important than perfection. Because at the end of the day, we are all looking for another level of freedom in our lives. And so I just realized that education was the tool to help me not only discover who I am, but it's actually placed me on the road and on the track to freedom that I really am excited and look forward to excelling, succeeding, and soaring into my next beyond college. Next slide. And I would like to say thank you. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your open heart. Thank you for listening to my story. And I hope something I said has encouraged you or inspired you, that it's never too late, and that education is the tool to help us discover who we are and to also lift us up out of poverty. Thank you again, and have a great day.